The Nigerian Communications Commission has approved the request of telecommunications companies to increase tariff by up to 50%, and that's marking the first change in rates since the year 2013. NCC Director of Public Affairs, Ruben Moka, in a statement said the decision was made in response to the prevailing market conditions and the significant gap between operational costs and current tariffs. The NCC stated that the adjustment was necessary to sustain investment in infrastructure and innovation, benefiting consumers through improved services, better network quality, and wider coverage. This adjustment, according to the Commission, will be implemented in strict adherence to the NCC guidance on Tariff Simplification 2024 and will remain within the tariff band stipulated in the 2013 NCC cost study. The NCC will review requests on a case-by-case basis, as is their standard practice for tariff reviews. Joining me from on this is the public affairs analyst, Victor Hai. Good to have you join us at this time. As a telecoms consumer yourself, what is your take about this hike in tariff?
Well, I think if we look at the prevailing economic circumstances, just like Moka had said, it's only fair that they hike their tariff at a time like this because of huge operating costs. And what are these costs? You have costs like, there are base stations all over the country, using diesel. You and I know that the cost of energy, both electricity and diesel, have gone up astronomically. And then also, there are parts, a lot of parts for servicing and maintenance also. We don't make them locally here. This is coming from abroad. And with the deregulation also of the foreign exchange system, you will find a situation where, the cost of purchasing dollars has...
After the hike, they are threatening to sue the NCC because they say that subscribers were not carried along in all of this. What do you suggest as the best strategy to resolve this matter?
See, the issue of subscribers, I'm a subscriber, I don't know the association. A group of people who just come, bunch themselves together and become, a pressure group. I don't know them. And I don't think whether they're representing me or not, I don't even know. I've never heard about them before. People are just seeking relevance. They run their individual businesses. Do they need permission to increase tariffs? I agree that it is tough. The telecom operators ask for 100%. Other sectors have no regulators, so they just hike their prices anyhow. When you go to the market woman doesn't need permission to hike her prices. I'm a subscriber, and I know how. If you ask me, I can tell you it's going to affect us in so many ways because there are people who depend solely on data, for instance, apart from electricity, to run their businesses. So it's going to affect many small businesses who are operating that way, YouTubers, so many people who are dependent on that. But you also agree with me, like electricity, that there's a lot of waste. People get on the phone and they talk for hours and hours and hours, and they're just wasting time on the phone. I think it will make people use their time more judiciously right now.
Mr. Hai, when you say that people are just on the phone wasting their time, well, they're having conversations.
No, but you know that.
They're having conversations, and I think they could just choose to handle it whichever way they choose to. But then let's look at another angle to this. You had mentioned that the telcos had initially proposed about 100% tariff hike.
Yes,
and now the NCC, has just looked at, using wisdom to just reach a middle ground. But do you actually see these telcos agreeing to this recommendation, or do you call it approval now by the NCC?
No, I don't think they have a choice in the matter. Although if they had their way, if you go by the percentage, the rate of inflation, they should be asking for a lot more. But I think, NCC is a regulator, and somehow they would have consulted and they would have reached that agreement. What are we talking about? So if you were spending 5,000 before, you'll be spending 7,500. Let's ask ourselves, was that what?
If it's up to 50%, that would be 10,000, Mr. Hai. If it's 50%, then if you're spending 5,000 before, it becomes 10,000, not 7,500.
No. 10,000 is 100%. It's 7,500.
Oh yes, 50%. Yeah, indeed.
Yes.
That calculation is now correct.
Yes, but is that the rate of increase for bread? Is that the rate of increase for soft drinks? Is that what you find in the market? Obviously not. So it's not even commensurate with the rate of inflation in the country.
So how do we
So
hold
I agree,
telcos?
yes,
How do we, Mr.
yeah.
High, how do we then hold telcos to account? Because now with this increase, they're telling us that there should be better coverage, better quality.
Exactly. That's where I want us to talk about now. That's what I would like us to talk about. Because even the telcos, and let them challenge me if I'm wrong, and I've tested this, and you see, there's no consumer protection in this country. Sometimes they tell you your data is so much, and then there is no verifiable way. I'll give you a small example. Some will tell you they're giving you bonuses. Let me give an example. You buy 500, they say, okay, they will make it 2,000. That 2,000, go and check. The 2,000, the rate of usage is multiple that. So it is not true. There's a lot of terrible practices by these telcos, and NCC and the regulators and the consumer protection agencies are not doing anything about it.
So are you recommending, Mr. High, that the
FCC,
if I may come in, Mr. High, are you recommending then that the FCCPC, for instance, beams its satellite very importantly on the telcos if this new tariff hike actually takes effect?
They should have started it even before now. But maybe that's how the telcos can make up without really increasing. They have been, it's like force measures. You know, we talk about petrol doing force measures, but nobody is doing that with data and calls. Whatever you see, if they say your money is finished, it's finished. Who is programming it? How do we know? Is there anybody regulating it? These are the things I expect us. So that if you say you have 1 gigabyte, it is actually 1 gigabyte that you're using. Not they program it to say you have 1 gigabyte, but in actuality, you only have 260 gigabytes. You know, that's where I would expect the Consumer Protection Agency, the NCC, and other regulators to beam their searchlight. Because, and indeed, this one, I can say I'm a victim because I've tested it and I know that most of them are not honest. We can't begin to mention names here, but I wish, and this is the agenda I'd like to set for them, go out there, test these things. If our officials are not going to be corrupted, they should hold them accountable, and where they are found to be culpable, they should make reparations back to consumers.
And importantly, the channel of communication, channel of complaint should be very clear and accessible for consumers.
Yes.
Victor High is a public affairs analyst. Thank you very much for your submission on TVC News at 1.